Another huge consideration when you're applying for monetization is the concept of copyright, reuse, duplicate content on YouTube. Unfortunately, due to the size of a platform, this is rife. That is, video creators stealing, borrowing, whatever you want to call it, content from films, movies, television, even other video creators on the platform, and using it for their own content and profiting from it from YouTube. That is exactly what they want to avoid. It should go without saying, really, that you shouldn't use other people's content on your videos. There is the argument of fair use, and this is a big topic on YouTube as well. But ultimately, you're not only breaking YouTube's rules when you use copyrighted material, you are effectively breaking the law, and in an extreme case, you might have to defend your actions in court. And there are no easy fixes or ways around this. Potentially, even if you use a second of a film or a couple of seconds of a music, that would be considered copyright use. YouTube has automated systems in place, and there are many companies who operate on YouTube and can make a claim against that content if you are using it. Also, if you do a cover version of a song, that could be considered composition copyright as well. As with community guidelines, there is a ton of information about copyright usage on YouTube, and I will leave links in the course contents. But to summarize, if you don't know what copyright is, how to use it properly, when you should use it, just avoid it. And that includes anything that would be considered someone else's material. Even if you use a single second of copyrighted material in an hour video, the owner of that copyright could claim your entire video and make money from it. And in extreme cases, you could get copyright strikes and again suffer the consequences of having your channel terminated. It's just not worth it. As well as not using copyrighted content, YouTube will also have an issue with your channel if you use what they call reused content. This might be content that is freely available. You don't need a license to use it or the owner's permission or its Creative Commons. But if you don't add any value to that existing content, YouTube doesn't want you to profit from it. I'm going to read out here exactly what YouTube say about reused content, and that is that it is content that doesn't provide significant original commentary or educational value. It may also mean that YouTube have identified that large portions of your channel either completely match other content or are noticeably similar. Examples include third-party videos stitched together with minimal to no changes, so that could be compilation videos. Third-party content compiled without a narrative. Content uploaded somewhere else first, and content uploaded many times by multiple users. YouTube also have guidelines about duplicate or repetitive content. This is content that appears mass-produced in order to increase views without adding significant educational or other values, and these are sometimes called content farms. Examples include synthetic voice reads third-party content or nonsensical content, content on a channel with minimal changes from video to video, repetitive or mindless content with no additional educational value, commentary or narrative, content that's been mass-produced and generated programmatically, and image slideshows or scrolling text with minimal or no additional narrative, commentary or educational value. Now, you could argue that there's nothing wrong with me using content that's free to use legally and putting it on YouTube and earning money from it. But here's what YouTube say to this type of attitude. It is the spirit of a policy to make sure that YouTube are incentivizing unique and original content in the YouTube Partner Program, and that YouTube are protecting and rewarding the creators who work hard on original content. They want to reward video creators who are bringing something new to the platform, a new value, a new message, whatever that person has to share, not what's already been seen elsewhere. Of course, you are more than entitled to disagree with YouTube's attitude to duplicate content, even if you are allowed to use it. But remember this is YouTube's platform, it's their rules, and they can do whatever they want. And if you want to walk this tightrope and potentially incur YouTube's wrath, then maybe this is not the platform for you and you want to share your videos elsewhere. Community guidelines, copyright guidelines, it's a huge area. You must follow these rules if you want to make money on YouTube.